I work with accountancy as an accountant, and sometimes I struggle with NAV procedures and rules because sometimes they are so complicated when it comes to combination of sikkerpenger and permittering, for example. It's not just easy to calculate. And I started using. I once thought, why not? I'm going to ask ChatGPT. How do you calculate the period of something? And it was right.
It was good. It worked. That's really good.
So it's nice to know that somebody verifies this stuff.
Trying to do it at least.
Okay, cool. Should we start?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Should I use this or?
You use this. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Welcome to Gaute. Welcome to you to another event, Mindset Skills event for entrepreneurs. Gaute Kokkvoll, you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. So yeah, my name is Gaute. I'm head of product at Factorverse, where we do verification and AI, trying to speed up verification processes and mainly towards media and finance. But my background is within gamification and how do we kind of keep people engaged, have people come back to our product or service, and anything kind of related to human motivation and design typically.
Yeah, so you wrote this book about gamification.
Yeah.
Or you was one of the writers there. At
Yeah.
least. Yeah. So you can tell maybe a little bit about what is gamification first.
Sure. So in our book we try to kind of demystify it a little bit because I think we could call it politification or movification because movie makers and politicians are typically good at appealing to emotion. But if you take like a historical glance at it, you can look at the first behavioral studies that was done, like Maslow's pyramid of needs, like early 1800 or late 1800. You would typically get 5-6 people into a room. I might ask you not to eat before you come in, and then I'll do some tasks and see, okay, without eating, humans typically do this and that. But if you look at the gaming industry, particularly from the 90s and upwards, where you basically have, instead of a closed room with 5 to 6 people, you have a digitally closed room with 160 million people, which means that if I change the button or the color of a button within Minecraft, I immediately get a lot of data. How many more people clicked it? What was the difference? And it's this giant A/B testing, I would say, is that we're now looking to the game industry. How can we bring more of this engagement into quote-unquote boring day-to-day or business things we want to improve? So very much about human motivation, but the gaming industry is at the moment the best at it.
Yeah. And today we're going to talk a little bit about motivation in our work day or our work week.
Yeah.
So yeah. Do you have anything from the gamification to bring with us?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a few topics we could touch upon. I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well. We did discuss a little bit as an entrepreneur, kind of managing high expectations both to yourself and maybe to investors and to your team, and how can you balance both those expectations and giving yourself time to reflect and know what am I spending my time on during the week, because we're running and we have a lot of things on our to-do list, but building a company is not necessarily always a fixed description of all the tasks you need to do. Sometimes we do need to kind of take a step back, maybe allow ourselves to daydream a little bit, or just go for a walk in the middle of the day if we have back-to-back with meetings. To really scarcity is like a good driver to run, but if we need time to be creative and to think differently about stuff, we actually need to put ourselves a bit out of that mindset. It's a bit like going on a holiday and you're packing in a suitcase. You know, everything you bring with you is like, if I bring this, there's something else I might not be able to bring with me. But if you don't have any scarcity, it's like throwing stuff into a huge suitcase. You're like, I'll just bring an extra suit and some extra stuff there. So you don't have that trade-off thinking. And obviously that makes us more focused, but it can also come at the expense of, for example, being creative or thinking, how am I actually managing my company and my work day?
Yeah, so how would you use that
Now
in your work day?
Yeah, I think allowing yourself to, when you know that now I have back-to-back meetings, or you know that you're gonna be sitting 6 hours, try to even add your calendar booking, add half an hour, 20 minutes of a walk trip, and just clear your mind. And I'm sure this is not revolutionary advice, right? But it's often easy for us to forget that our brain is actually not wired as a GPU or as a computer where we just open it up and the flash memory starts. We actually need to be a bit disconnected or take some time before we swap between tasks, for example. And I think it's quite easy to get stuck in that kind of quote-unquote very productive mindset where just like you think you can go and go, but at some point you actually won't be as productive as you want to be, because we have limited capacity basically.
And also the other day when we spoke a little bit about this basic psychological needs that are, for example in the self-determination theory. And I like that framework to talk about motivation as well.
Exactly, it's a really good one, and if you've heard, it's kind of what keeps us typically intrinsically engaged, and the self-determination theory is all about like feeling autonomy, that we are in control of the decisions we make in our own life, that we have competence, we feel that we're developing, and I know what I'm doing, it's growing in the right direction. And obviously also we need social relatedness to others. So and I think that goes for most of human psychology, and the models that we look at, they all factor in, especially feeling connected to others. And you just mentioned going into a mesh to the work place, just sitting in the office space and having that zone where you're kind of out of your home, but you're in a work environment where there's also other people, and that does have an effect on our work-life balance. So, and obviously this self-determination theory is very focused on kind of the positive long-time learning, whilst if you're looking at behavioral economics, or for example in sales psychology, it's much more of this creating FOMO, creating urgency, scarcity, like you need to do this by the end of the day. And it's obviously, it can be a good way to create urgency, like save the world, otherwise I'll shoot you. You'll probably be out running to save the world. And in the regular day-to-day job, we have to be like, I have to answer some emails first, and then I'll try to save the world. But it's kind of reflecting a little bit on that balance. Do I allow myself to think about the bigger picture, or am I constantly running to trying to save it?
Yeah, I like to think about this framework when I need to get motivated, because one thing is the self-determination aspect, that I can decide what I'm doing myself, and I try to never use words like I have to.
No.
Just use I want to do this.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like it's competence. That is like developing skills, for example. And when I feel like I'm developing something, that skill, I feel really good. And also this part relatedness.
Yeah.
Then I think a lot about the contribution, because relatedness is just not being part of something; it's also contributing to something.
Yeah. I think that is probably one of the big factors as well, especially when it comes to persistence and standing in it for a long time as a founder. It's you need to have long-term motivation, and it's typically being intrinsically engaged, having people that you care about and feel connected to, that there is some meaning, maybe even some epic meaning in what you're doing, that it's not just quote unquote to earn money, but maybe to have an impact in the world in some way. And bringing those motivation factors also into how, both when you're building the team, but also how you manage yourself. I think that is very important, and sometimes easy to forget as well.
Yeah. Do you have any skills that you use in your everyday life, like?
It's funny,
others?
we discussed it. Yeah, we discussed it a bit with with having knowledge about gamification or human motivation. For that sake, is like. You can't stop yourself from doing the irrational choices, but you can be more aware of why did I do that choice. Say I'm hungry and I walk into a store and I buy 2 bars of chocolate as opposed to 1, or even as opposed to buying none of them. And it's maybe it was a good sale, but it was also maybe I hadn't eaten or I'd been in meetings back to back the whole day, and it kind of sets the stage for doing more of these quote-unquote irrational choices. But you can't stop yourself from doing it, but you can kind of try to help yourself avoid those situations. So it's like, if my blood sugar drops every day at 2 p.m., maybe I should allow myself to have a 20-minute walk or get up in the sun even for a few minutes. And I think these kind of smaller life hacks, or whether it's exercise, but clearing your mind is, I think, is very much underappreciated. And you know, daydreaming as well, it's considered like this negative word, but when you're looking at brain research, it's actually the most neural connections we do is actually when we're going out of heavy concentration and then allowing our brain to kind of roam a bit more freely. That's when we typically do connections we didn't think about, or get the new good idea, or like, I should have done that with a client. So I think in those kind of smaller areas of air in the day to day, I think is very important.
Yeah, that's also why it works to sleep on it.
Yeah, exactly.
To like bring some new connections, because when you're working with this high, fast brainwaves, then it's not so easy to see.
No,
they're very good for focusing, but it's not too easy to see the bigger picture.
exactly.
So that's also what we do in meditation, for example, and or one of the reasons.
Yeah,
And also, also going for a walk.
going for a walk, or spending some extra time with family, or even if you feel you're crashing, you know that I'll take an hour just clear yourself. I think those things can be super valuable. And also kind of reflecting on this intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Like, if I'm only chasing doing something typically because of the result in itself, and typically when we get the result we're happy, we're like, yes, I'm finished exercise, now I can relax, or I finished that task, now I can relax. And we need to have those in the day-to-day life, but we should also think about how can I bring in more autonomy for myself, or feeling related to others, or bring in the team, and also talk about these type of things that are related to work. How do we want to be as a team week by week? How do we want to work together? Maybe someone in the team likes to sleep in and is more of a B person. Okay, let's factor that into how we have the meetings or how we align every week. So I think it's not only an individual thing you can do on your own, but also setting kind of the culture that you want to have within the company. How do we work best, or how do we make the best together as a team?
Yeah.
And also allow people to talk about these things.
And the one word that comes to mind, and we also talked about lately, is this mindfulness. Being mindful. Everybody is familiar with that. Yeah, just being. That can be a meditation workout, but it can also be like something you do in the everyday life. Just like you said. Okay, now I'm really mindful of my choices. Okay, now I feel hungry. Do I need to go for a chocolate, or do I need to go out in the sun to get some light, or do I need to go for a walk?
Yeah. It's a bit like this stop and think when you're in that situation, and the same goes also if you're like super overloaded or super stressed, and kind of allow yourself to stop. Okay, why am I so obsessive with this task, or why am I so stressed with this particular thing, and allow yourself to kind of process and, like you said, take a step back, because that often we are such emotional beings that if we don't allow ourselves to do that, we'll just be kind of soaked within our own minds, and we'll rarely have that time to look at the bigger picture, or take a breath and like, I was angry, or I yelled at my colleague earlier today because I had booked myself 4 hours of meetings back to back. Maybe next week I won't do that. So those type of things, and if we don't allow ourselves to reflect, we might not even be aware that it's because I had 4 hours back to back meetings that I was angry that morning.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you do for yourself or for your team?
I think we try to have touchdowns maybe on like at least every 6 months to get everyone ideally physically together, even though we're remotely spread quite a bit. We try to get everyone together and discuss these type of things, or kind of how do we want to work, what gets you going, kind of what kills your motivation. Maybe allow the team to have these things in open, because I think it's a good process, and you often realize that we're very similar in the way we like to structure our days. Maybe someone wants to get up a bit earlier, but I think that there's a lot of overlaps, and if you align with the team, it can actually be more of a strength rather than why do you work in that hour and I'm working in this hour, as opposed to he's working now, I know he's super focused in the morning, so I can send him stuff at that time. But maybe with my other colleague, I'll be more wary of spamming him early in the morning. So it can be these small things, but bringing that conversation to the team and talking about these things as because we are emotional beings, right? Our brains haven't changed in 200,000 years. So even though we now have tech gadgets and we have all of these productivity tools, when it comes down to it, it's still the same brain that needs to be engaged, needs to feel connected, needs to have that meaningful and autonomy as well.
Yeah, so it comes down to like one thing is values. That's okay. Who do we want to be? How do, both on the individual level and on the team level?
Yeah.
And also, okay, like taking into account our physiology and
yeah. And not to blame it, like I hadn't eaten yesterday, that's why I was mad at you. That's not it. You have still to take extreme ownership to quote unquote your actions and your choices. But I think with the knowledge about behavior psychology and how we humans behave, it's easier also to accept and not to ride yourself too hard when you do those type of options, because it happens to all of us.
Great. So with that in mind, let's do a short. I like to do a short meditation to like get ourselves focused for the week.
Awesome.
So being in the moment, a little bit of like mindfulness skills, a little bit of relaxation skills to get, which you can also use further in your week if you need to like get your mind more at ease, more like slower brain waves, and some visualizing something we're motivated about in the future. So and maybe we can visualize contribution and yeah, that we're developing.
Yeah.
So if you just sit down and sit with your feet on the floor and just find a comfortable position where you can sit in like 5-6 minutes, and just close your eyes. And now you can feel. Start with feeling your feet. Feet are resting on the floor. Feel where your weight underneath your feet are. Feel your ankles. And let them relax. Your calves, knees, thighs, buttocks, hips, stomach, lower back, upper back, chest, shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, hands, neck, face, whole head. You can use this kind of body scan when you need to get calmer. You feel yourself maybe a little bit calmer now. And if there's any place in your body where it feels tense or uncomfortable in any way, don't fight it. Just notice it. Be mindful of this. But you can have an intention to let go of that tension. You can always choose. You can always choose where to focus. Like we can choose where to focus in our workday. We can always choose where to focus in our body. So now, find a place in your body that feels best, most at ease, most comfortable right now. This can be a small or large area. And let that area be the focus of attention. Maybe you can give it a color, and let that color be a little bit stronger now. And the color or the feeling is spreading out throughout the body, making you feel good. Now, we're in good state to visualize. Now you sit here, right now, and are ready for the work week. Monday morning, ready to do your work, ready to be focused, ready to feel motivated. Is there anything that you need that comes to mind now that will make you feel more motivated throughout the week? Maybe something from our discussion. Let it come to you if anything comes to you. Now you can try to visualize. Visualize your goals. Visualize some place in the future where you've just reached a goal in your business. Or where you have the business that you're dreaming of. See yourself out there in the future with a dream life, a dream day at work. Something good, really good happens. How do you look? See your body language. If you're a team, see how you interact with others on the team. How's your radiation? What do you see in your eyes? And how do you feel? How do you feel a great day at work? And we can also bring in this contribution, this relatedness to others. You can see yourself. Maybe you have a good product, and you can see your customer benefiting from that product. It's a win-win for everyone. You feel related. you feel like you're contributing. This is one way to use the tools we were talking about. Visualizing ourselves in the future, how we want to be, what we want to achieve. And you can bring this with you throughout this week. Bring this with you now. You can bring with you whatever you feel like. While I count down. And let your subconscious guide you. That will bring with you the things that is important. I'll count down from 10. And when we're done, you're ready for this week. Feeling good. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's open. Feeling wide awake. Feeling better than before. So that's a way to use these skills.
Awesome.
So yeah. Thank you guys. Do you have anything more to discuss?
No, I thank you for joining, and hopefully just be more, as you say, be more mindful and think about the things that drive us, the motivations that we all have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll hang around for a little bit. So if you wanna have a chat, just feel free. I don't know if you.
Yeah, same here. And if you want to have a look at our book, you can. Yeah. It's in Norwegian, unfortunately, but if you want to have a look at it, feel free to.
Mm.
And have a great week.
Have a great week.
Tusen takk.
Yes,
thanks. Vi må komme oss videre, men takk for at du joina.
Velkommen tilbake.
Jo, takk.
Is it possible to see or hear those conversations somewhere? Do you make a podcast or you make a video channel?
I recorded it now, so I have a. Yeah, I'm gonna.